Bearded dragons make absolutely horrible pets, and I'm about to tell you why. And actually, guys, I don't think that bearded dragons make bad pets, but my friend over at Hudson's Morph sent me an article that was titled, Bearded Dragons Make Horrible Pets. And I want to kind of go through this. You guys know that I don't like to go negative on things. I don't typically like to do this, but I thought in this case, it was kind of something I wanted to cover because bearded dragons can absolutely make amazing pets. So let's go ahead and outline what they thought made bearded dragons such horrible animals. This happens to be Fetty, my bearded dragon that I've had for 13 years already. And their first point was that these animals are often crammed into small cages and deprived of water. Now, when it comes to cage size, obviously you should be keeping your animal in a cage that's big enough. No doubt about that. So if you're not, then that's on you, right? But I think most people are pretty responsible with that. When it comes to actual depriving of water, I'm not really sure where they get that. I mean, like, who deprives any of their animals of water? I mean, that would be absolutely crazy. With that being said, you do realize that bearded dragons get about 90% of their hydration from the food that they eat, right? They're omnivores, so they eat lettuce, they eat other vegetables, and they also eat bugs, all of which will help with hydration. And really, a bearded dragon in the wild in Australia is probably very rarely going to drink from standing water. Typically, what's going to happen is if it rains, they'll actually drink off of things like leaves and stuff like that. So if you miss your bearded dragon down once in a while, theoretically, you don't even need a water dish. But trust me, I suggest you keep a water dish in there. We certainly keep a water dish in with every one of our animals. This next one is a good one. It actually says that bearded dragons are just used as breeding machines, and once they don't breed anymore, they are actually just killed, oftentimes put into plastic bags and euthanized. Get in there and breed! Why aren't you breeding? I got the plastic bag, you know? Now listen, I don't want to make light of this. I mean, obviously, that would be a horrible thing, but I don't know, where did they come up with this? I mean, I have to believe that they're just making it up. I've never heard of anyone just throwing a bearded dragon in a plastic bag because it wouldn't breed. I mean, that would be asinine. This happens to be Bones, one of our newest bearded dragons, and of course, their next point, I don't completely disagree on. And it says that bearded dragons are almost always kept in too small of enclosures and are not given that expensive setup that they need. Now, first off, I agree. Some people probably don't keep them in large enough enclosures. They do need, you know, anywhere between a 40 and maybe even up to a 75-gallon aquarium as far as size goes when they are adults. But as babies, you can keep them in something smaller. And it is a little expensive to keep the animals. And what I mean by that is they need a basking spot that's going to be 105, 110 degrees. And then, of course, they need UV light, and then of course they need a sizable cage and all that type of stuff. The truth is it's not that cheap to get started, but I think the majority of people actually will do that when they get a bearded dragon, right? They'll get them what they need, even though it does cost a little more than, let's say, a leopard gecko setup. But once you have that setup, the cost of actually keeping the animal is actually pretty low. Their next point was that 75% of all reptiles, not just bearded dragons, never make it to a year old. Again, I introduced you to Fetty, the old bearded dragon, and the truth is that, you know, I'm sure there's some attrition when it comes to all reptiles, but 75%, like, where did they get that number from? I could go the other way and say 99% of all reptiles live to be 20 years old. Now, I'd just be making that up because I don't know. I don't have any kind of data behind that, but I can assure you that 75% of reptiles don't die in their first year. I would say it's probably under 5%, quite frankly. That would be my understanding, and certainly every bearded dragon I've ever owned has thrived for many, many, many years, and if you're taking care of it properly, there's no reason why it should die at a year of age. Not to mention all reptiles. I mean, captive bred reptiles in particular almost always thrive. Again, I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm certain that it's well into the 90s. So again, I just think these arbitrary numbers that they just come up with and throw out with no data to back it is kind of just ridiculous. And guys, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I got the plastic bag, you know? I certainly don't want to be all negative, but when I see something like that, when I know that bearded dragons are one of the best pet reptiles you can ever own, I mean, Flamin' Hot is definitely a hit here, and everyone I know that has had kids, that has had bearded dragons, absolutely loves them, so I had to address it, right? But that's it. Let's go ahead and end the negativity and move on to some positivity. Well, with big snakes come big poop. That's right. Lucy did a nasty poop soup there. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to try to leave her, and hopefully she's going to be good to me and drain this out, get all that poop out of here. Tell you what, you know, the life of a snake guy, you know, it's always so glamorous. As much as I love giant snakes, this is the one downside to giant snakes. There's no doubt about it. They have giant turds. And Lucy, fortunately, goes in her water because it makes it easier for cleanup, but boy, does it smell. I tell you what, being in here is not very fun. But again, I always get the glamorous job of doing this. that up. It wasn't a fun job, but it was a job that needed to get done. So Carl, our emerald tree boa, has started to shed. How amazing is that to actually see it crawl out of its skin and get a brand new layer of skin. So look how beautiful the emerald tree boa looks now that it's shed out. It's always cool to see, and it's really an amazing thing to see a tree boa shed. It's been a few weeks since we've had the coloring book out. It's been a huge success. By the way, you can go to thereptarium.com and you can buy yourself a coloring book. But I've actually noticed I haven't seen anyone that actually colored the coloring book. So do me a favor, tag me at SnakeBitesTV on Instagram with your coloring, and I'll go ahead and pick a few of them out and send you guys gift cards for the Reptarium. Lori. What? Bella wants some attention from you. You never love her. Why don't you love Bella? You don't. Look at her. She's looking at you right now saying, pet me. Go ahead, pet her. Good. See? Isn't that nice?
Yeah, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Do you pet her? How often do you pet her? How many times a week?
I don't keep track. I pet a lot of things, a lot of times a week.
Wait, I don't think I want to know about what you're doing. You're petting things, all right? And I can't think of anything more positive than snake breeding. I mean, take a look at some of these pairings that we have. This is actually an interesting dynamic and scaleless Texas rats, right? Because this thing is just an absolute ripper, beautiful, hardly any scales, and so bright. But believe it or not, this is also a scaleless Texas rat, but it has quite a few scales left on it, and it certainly doesn't have that dynamic color pop, right? And that kind of gives you an idea of the more scales, the less the color actually pops, the less scale, the more the color pops. Now, of course, that's also polygenically bred to have that really bright red color. Really excited that I just had a meeting with the engineer, the first time I've actually met with him. We've talked about going down, we've talked about going up. I tell you, we've got some pretty exciting things we're going to be sharing with you guys. So I think I've made my mind up, and I think you guys are going to be really happy with the way it turns out. It's going to be a big one, guys. It's going to be a big one, but I'm excited to get it started. Back to some scaleless Texas rat snakes, and again, a pretty good dynamic between one that has quite a few scales left, and what I call remnant scales, and one that's almost completely scaleless. And this one's actually in shed and still looks absolutely ridiculous. We have some killer scaleless Texas rats breeding this year. So again, super excited about it. Cannot wait for egg season. It's right around the corner, and then babies. Who doggy? I tell you, it's going to be a fun year. So Noah actually cut up some more salmon for baby Kush to see if it just seemed like he wanted some more food. He definitely looks like he's on the hunt right now, so go at it, Noah.
All right. Try not to let him out of his cage. Just
you'll be fine.
Want to go in?
You can go in if you want.
Dungeon.
You can. Just get right up to him. You're all right. He's not going to do anything. You can go in. You're fine.
Oh my God!
You're stuck.
My shoelace.
He falls down.
That is the
That's
worst
the last time
thing.
That's the last time we've ever talked to see Noah again.
Yep. That's
Noah's
crazy.
gone.
Come on. Come on. I'm gonna have to work for it. It's something you love. Oh God! All right, this is my last piece.
It's okay.
So I have to make it
Yeah.
count.
So you're fine as soon as he's done. He's gonna get more mellow as he's eating too. There you go, bud. There you go. Go ahead, pet him. You'll be okay now.
No more.
That's good. You did good. Whew.
Excited, I'm
You know, snakes are pretty amazing. I mean, I never get sick of seeing them, you know. This happens to be a Tangerine Nuevo Leonis, or what they call a variable king snake. But, I mean, just take a look at that. Is that just absolutely ridiculous? Finally, we're going to have an opportunity to maybe see what this little monkey produces right here. This was an albino Honduran milk snake that we produced a couple years ago. I always said it looked like that Halloween candy, the candy corn or whatever. Well, finally, we're going to be breeding it, and hopefully it'll actually pass along. And we can produce a line of Honduran milk snakes that look just like this. Definitely don't show boas enough love, there's no doubt about that. And take a look at this one here. This is actually a motley that's het for albino. Just absolutely stunning. The motley is actually an incomplete dominant boa constrictor, so essentially what it is, if you breed this to a normal, you get about half the babies will come out motley. Of course, you breed them together, you get a super motley, but unfortunately a lot of the super motleys don't really survive, so we don't plan on ever breeding motley to motley, but nevertheless, absolutely beautiful. It has been a minute since I have gotten some new shoes. I tell you what, I used to buy shoes all the time, but you know, things have changed a little bit. But I definitely need some new definitely need some new shoes now. So let's see what we got. These are, by the way, everyday shoes. These are not going to be sitting on a shelf or anything like that. I just needed some new everyday shoes because my neighborhood Ultra Boost collabs are definitely getting old, and you know what I mean. So I got these. These are actually pretty dope. Of course, some Yeezys, but these are, again, everyday Yeezys, right? I wanted a color that I thought would match some things, kind of neutral color, so I like them. I'm going to try them on right now. Yeah, baby, it's like walking on clouds. Another amazing boa, of course, is my Sharp albino boa here. Love this guy. Got to get him back on display when we do 3.0 for sure, because he is just an absolute gorgeous animal, and I definitely need more. And I definitely need more boas. If you guys enjoyed this video, do me a favor. Snake Egg playlist right here. You could definitely watch some videos over here on this side. Hit that subscription button. Let's get to 4 million, okay? We just hit 3 million. Turn your post notification on. Thank you guys for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to someone, and I promise I'll see you tomorrow.